All right, we just got the stream live here. Switch back over to my main shot here, and I'm just waiting for it to come up here on YouTube. It says we're live. We got good bandwidth, so we are ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to switch back over here, and let's start this off. So as everybody knows, I'm Tim with TH3D. Right here, the big head. This is Cody, and he runs the C3D support groups. And so go ahead, Cody, let everybody know who you are and why you're here.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Cody with C3D TV. A lot of you guys probably know me as the admin at C3D Support Groups on Facebook. Yeah, so today we're just going to hang out. We're going to talk about some Chinese 3D printer companies and what's going on there.
All right, so everybody sit tight, grab a cold one. We got ours, and enjoy the ride. All right. So today we got a couple of things to talk about. Sorry about the weird audio. I'm still doing this whole. It's still new to me having guests on here. I'm gonna go ahead and actually we're gonna do this. We're gonna resize me here and put me on the left, and we're gonna put Cody on the right here. I'm gonna crop my image down. So let me just crop that off on the right. There we go. So then we can have Cody here on the left. How's that? We're about equal size. That works. All right. So, as you guys know, you're here because you guys have Chinese 3D printers, and we're here to talk about the issues that plague them. So, this kind of started on a discussion regarding when I was working on the G-Tech A30 that I received from G-Tech, just as, something to check out. It wasn't even a review unit. And just due to the copious amounts of issues we had, I ended up giving it to a friend of mine. I told him, like, here, I've just been having problems with it. Check it out. In worst case scenario, we can go ahead and just swap the electronics, which we did. We're talking like close to 10 hours work over the last few days to get that thing up to snuff. So, Cody, if you want to go ahead and talk, because Cody and I both have little talking points here. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's talk about we'll talk about poor after sales support first. So one of the issues I've had recently is I've gotten 4 3D printers recently to check out and review and the whole thing, and 3 of the 4 didn't work out of the box. Issues immediately, haven't worked.
Oh, hang on 1 second. They said to raise your volume.
Yep.
Oh, all right, that should be better.
How about now?
Should be good. Levels look good on my end.
Cool. So 3 out of the 4 printers I received did not work out of the box, and that's a big problem. When I'm someone who I think is at least somewhat technically good, and I get 3 printers that I struggle to get working, and to this day still haven't been working, that's an issue. And one of the companies being Hicktop on the Duality 3, I reached out to them and was like, hey, this is my issue. I sent them videos, and their response to me was, you should read the manual word for word.
Wow, like
yeah,
that's rough.
And that's direct to representative. I'm once again, I'm supposed to be reviewing this unit for them on the channel, and their response to me is, read the manual better. The answer is in the manual. The answer wasn't in the manual.
And what was so you got the Hicktop, that's the dual IDEX one.
Yep.
What was the issue we had? Because just dual IDEX is, in general, it's much more difficult to master in terms of the company actually producing the machine, setting up the firmware correctly, hardware, etc. Yep. So what were the issues you encountered with that machine?
So my initial issue was I got everything connected correctly. And when I started the print, the bed moving on the y-axis pretty much was going any which direction it wanted to, more or less vibrating in place. It wouldn't auto home. The both the IDEX extruders auto homed fine. The Z auto homed fine. That bed was just doing what it wanted to do.
So it sounded like maybe the stepper driver was
Stepper driver, yeah.
pooched.
So
Okay.
so I opened up the box, swapped some of the stepper drivers around, pulled them out, made sure everything was pushed in, everything was connected well, and that seemed to fix that issue. So I was happy. I was like, sweet, that wasn't that bad. Excuse me. I got the printer working fine. Started my first print, and everything was printing at a hard angle. In fact, I have a test print. Let's see.
I think I vaguely remember the issues you were having with that one because you were complaining about it.
If you can see it.
Try putting your hand behind like the camera so it focuses. I'm assuming you have autofocus turned on.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. It's always the joy of trying to get these cameras to focus.
so yeah, I mean, it printed at a hard angle, and they told me the bed was snagging. So I checked. The bed was not snagging on anything. The Y motor mount was a little bit bent, but that's not an uncommon problem.
Yeah, that's more shipping damage, and to a certain point, you can also argue that they need to change their packaging better. One thing I'm going to do when I start shipping machines is I'm going to ship them to someone just to get an evaluation on how it survived the shipping.
Yep.
I think that's something they need to do.
Idea.
The funny thing is, Neuro, who was a customer of mine from a long time ago, actually, he said somebody also had printers from the Czech Republic. So I'm assuming he's talking about he's had issues with his Prusa because he's a huge Prusa guy.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of issues with Prusa too. I don't think they're the end all. Buy this and you won't have problems product. But
well, and I think at a certain point, and we encounter this as well. As you up your volume, you're bound to have issues at some point. Like even our stuff. We're not perfect. We try to do as much QC as we can, but sometimes there's going to be a problem. But the problem I feel with these Chinese machines is they seem to have problems like, I don't know, 80% of the time. I know just from talking to like resellers like Tiny Machines or Printed Solid. I mean, Printed Solid actually came out and said that every single CRX they had problems.
Yep.
And that's coming from someone that knows what they're doing, and they're burning time fixing all these machines, whereas someone that bought one direct from Creality is probably going to get one that's bad. And I have a CRX out in the living room, and I visually inspected it. It looks fine, but we'll find out when I actually do the unboxing.
So my CRX I didn't have any problems with. My CR10 and my CR10S I really didn't have any problems with. So for me personally, Creality has a pretty daggone good track record.
Yeah, I think they're better than most. But I feel like the recent machines, especially the Ender 3, their quality took kind of a nosedive because the CR10 was known for being the budget machine that you got a lot of build volume with, and you didn't have that many problems with. I'm not saying they're without problems. There's a couple other points we're going to talk about in terms of hardware and their selection. And they are listening to feedback, and they are tracking at least some of their failures because, look at machines like the Ender 3 Pro or the CR20 and the CRX, they're more premium models. They are shipping with better quality parts on certain things. I can tell you, we sell a lot of replacement parts in general just to fix things that fail because they used low quality components, know?
Yeah,
so
and I mean, I've seen it. I don't personally have an Ender 3, but I've seen it a lot in the Ender 3 group. Is the what people are getting out of their box from one person to the next completely varies on where they bought it from,
right?
When they bought it, and yeah, I mean, I definitely think that is an issue. Like, it's okay for these companies to look at their printers and say, hey, we need to make this better. That's great. We want them to make it better.
Right.
It's fantastic for the consumer. The problem is they're doing it in a way that people don't know what they're changing, and not everybody gets to benefit from it. You know,
Right.
they're not releasing the Ender 3 and then the Ender 3 V1 with the updated extruder and allowing that updated extruder to be bought for the people who bought the first one.
Right, or even just sending them out to their existing customers. I
Yeah.
mean, one thing is, I have the GTEC A10, which I haven't even used that heavily. I unboxed it, it
Mhm.
printed. I didn't have any issues with it initially. I'm going to be running it through its paces heavily. I just got to get it set up. But my buddy Matt, bought an A10 to do a giveaway on. Matt from Akuma Mods, you might have heard of him. Um,
Mhm.
but he sent me a picture. He goes, just a heads up, the entire hot end on this A10 I just bought is completely different. And
Yep.
from one of the from my standpoint too, as someone that makes aftermarket components, that we buy the machines and we design printed parts and we design things to fit these machines, and they go and change everything.
Mhm.
Um, because the thing is, the mount I designed for the A10, the version one I have, we're just gonna arbitrarily call it version one, and the new one, let's just call it version two.
Yep.
I have to now design a whole nother mount, which means I gotta go buy the A10 again,
Now,
just
did
to.
your so I received an A10 as well. My A10 did not work out the box. Um,
Yeah, so
it,
you were talking about that. So let's go through all your machines that you've had just recent
yeah,
machines that you've had issue with. So you got the Hicktop dual IDEX system.
yep.
What do they call
So
that one again? What's the actual model number?
Hicktop Duality 3.
Okay.
Uh,
And
and
have they
so
given you the source code yet for that?
they have not. I have not asked though.
Okay,
I have
okay.
not asked.
I'm not gonna. I'll
Um,
put the
and
pitch put the pitchforks down, people.
yeah, yeah, I have not asked. Um, so just to wrap up that one. So I had the issue where it was printing sideways. Now it won't turn on. It won't turn on at
It's
all.
dead.
It's dead.
So could be the
Um,
power supply,
yeah,
maybe.
it could be power supply. That's what I'm assuming. It's just a Chinese branded power supply.
Oh,
Um,
it's a
so
well. Let's not take a dump on Chinese power supplies, because Meanwhell is a Chinese company. They make excellent power
okay,
supplies.
it's
Let's
a
just say,
non-branded.
say no name, like
Yeah,
generic,
it's
like your
yeah,
white label power supplies.
yeah.
So
So it is a non-branded. I don't know where it's from. Um, the other two are the A10 and then
okay,
the A10M.
which you had issues with both of those machines,
Both of
and
them. Both of them.
those were review units that GTEC sent you directly. You didn't even buy those.
Yes, I did
So,
not buy those.
and that's an interesting thing, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, reviewers get cherry picked units." We do
Yes.
not.
No,
Not
definitely not.
not even in the slightest. That's why I like doing the live streams, because if I have a problem, you guys see it. There's none of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna edit it out, and we're gonna just show it working. No, I want you
Yep.
guys to see the raw, real deal, and me
Yeah.
getting pissed off because I now have to fix yet another printer that didn't work out of the box.
Yeah, and so A10, when I first started the very first print on it, got it all together, ran the first print, and it just pretty much drove the hot end into the bed, and the extruder motor was working, but sporadically, and then stopped working. Um, and I've done everything. I've received new boards. I'll give it to Gtech. They have tried to help me extensively on fixing both of them
Okay,
with no success so
but
far.
here's the thing. They're helping you because they gave it to you.
They're helping me because they gave it to me.
So
I'm getting disclaimer. I'm getting direct help from their like tech support guy.
right.
And if you buy it, you're not gonna get that. And I try to review them as if I'm purchasing them as a brand new person to this hobby.
Right, and
And
that's one thing I'm going to touch on about the A30 specifically. And the thing is, like in terms of that support, so I got an A10 directly from GTEC, and I got an A10 from GearBest. So
yep.
our employee William, or Mac as he's known around these parts, um, I sent him the one that GearBest sent me, because he was going to do some work on it and get some firmware stuff going to help me speed up the development process. And he got his, it worked, and then the LCD died. He found there was something wrong with the cable, and he fixed it. And after that, he was like, well, they're asking me for an order number or something. So I sent him all the GearBest information. He gave it to the guy. The guy, I can't remember his name, but one of the GTAC reps messaged me. He's like, hey, I got this guy. He's, messaging us. Is this one of your employees? I was like, yeah, we sent him a printer that we received from GearBest, and he needs help with it. And ultimately, he ended up just having to buy another GTAC board and LCD. So it's just like, he's kind of getting what the consumer experience is. It's not fair for me to go, okay, well, they helped me out. Well, of course they're going to help me out. I'm one of the people that's reviewing the machine. They know who I am.
They want the review. They want a good review. And
I don't even get that from Creality though. Or
no, I don't. I don't either.
So JTech is the only one that's doing that for reviewers.
Yeah. So I think GTech is in a place where they want to be there. They want to be the company that people think, what is a low price, high quality 3D printer I can buy? And they're trying to become that name.
Correct.
Yeah. And good for them. Like I commend them on that. And overall, I think the build quality of the machines that I've received is fine. I can't complain about the materials. But there's an issue when I receive two of your machines,
and they don't work.
And they don't work. Yeah, and they don't work. And I spend hours. I mean, I've spent hours working with them, and we still can't fix it.
Well, and so you had issues with the hot end, right? Or both, actually, both thermistors, right? You had issues with the thermistors.
On the A10, my initial problem that I thought was what was just that the extruder motor had stopped working.
So it's completely dead.
Completely dead. So what I initially did was swapped the cable from the Y-axis to the extruder to see if the motor worked when I swapped cables.
Okay.
And it did. It worked fine. So then my thought was, okay, this is a driver issue. Swap drivers around. Nothing. Then my thought was, the cable here is obviously broken. They sent me a whole new hot end setup because the cable's built into the hot end wiring, and nothing. I've received a second one. Nothing.
So you still don't have a working A10.
My A10 does not work.
And so you've replaced all the main parts. Maybe it's the cable?
Yeah, but I've replaced the cable twice.
Oh, it came with all the rest of the assembly.
Yeah,
okay.
In fact, one second. Here it is.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see. If anyone's wondering, the guy in the background is my buddy Steve, who I gave the A30 to. He's just hanging out here. I'm trying to think of how I can get the audio from my headphones so he can hear Cody over to him.
So for what it's worth, here's your hot end. There's your fans. There's your cable. So if you're familiar with it, this plugs in.
I'm not a fan of those, by the way. I hate them.
And then this is your extruder. So this plugs in. There's your extruder. Okay.
Right.
This is the second one, number 2.
Yeah. So, and this is interesting too, which is the whole luck of the draw thing. So, 3D Noob in here is my buddy Matt. We were talking about. So he said, "Here, strange. I've had 2 A10 printers, both printed better than my crappy Ender 3. His Ender 3 is sitting in my living room right now because he was getting ready to throw it out the window. I mean, we were even thinking about just like, we were joking, like, let's just put it on the bed of the A10 and have it, have that A10 sitting on the edge of my balcony and just have the bed move back and drop the Ender 3 off my 3rd story condo."
Yeah, and I mean, like, come on, like, I don't understand it. I honestly don't.
Yeah, it's weird.
Apparently. So that's the deal with that one. We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
The A10M is the current situation.
And what's going on with that one? Because I don't know anything about that one. I know you had last update I got from you was the A10. You're ready to just chunk it.
Yeah. So build went together great. Everything looked fine. Thermistors were reading like 168 and then like 90 on the bed as soon as I turned it on.
Well, and that's why
Um,
I'm kind of thinking maybe it's a wiring problem, but you replaced it all. Now, what did you
yes.
do for the bed? Is the bed still reading the same?
No. So they sent me a new board. Replacing the with the new board immediately fixed that problem. It was the board.
Okay. But the
Um,
hot end still wasn't working.
no, no, no. Hot didn't work. It heats fine. Everything heats fine. But what happens is I can home it. I can move all the axes. Everything works fine. As soon as I go to print, it jams the hot end on the x-axis into the instop. Yep. So once again, I have gotten the special support, because they want the review.
Yeah.
And at first they thought stuff was wired wrong. We checked everything. Everything seemed to be fine. Once again, when it homes and when I move stuff within the firmware, everything moves correctly.
Right.
It only has the issue when I'm going to print. Um, so the most recent update I can give is they sent me a new firmware.
Okay.
I flashed the firmware and now it will print, but it prints on the edge of the bed. So all the
But
way
it,
to the far
but it
left.
won't move anywhere else.
Mm-mm. So it's like it thinks everything is shifted far to the left. Um so John Gray in chat said, "Have you checked your startup G codes?" Um
The
I
start.
ran it. It happened with their
Hey, Cody, can you move over a little bit? I don't know if you see the stream. You there? You go. There you go.
it it happened with their supplied prints, which should work fine out of the
Right.
box. That's their intention.
Yeah,
They've
because starting code, as long as you got a G28 in there, that's literally all you need in your starting code. Obviously, your
mhm,
hot end temps, but in terms of stuff moving and it printing,
yeah,
all you need is a G28. You know,
yep,
that's pretty much it. That's the minimal you need on a starting code. Even if you don't set your print temps, it's still going to try to move.
yeah. And so even on their, they even sent me a G code file to test, um, and that didn't fix it either. Up until he sent me this most recent updated firmware that got us moving, I think, in somewhat the right direction.
But it's still not
Um,
100%.
it's still not 100%. So uh, they're on holiday right now, and I've gotten no support since holiday, which is expected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're yeah. China takes their holidays very, very seriously.
Yep.
So
So
I'm
the
just
last,
I'm just shifting around some stuff here,
oh yeah, you're fine. The uh, the last of the four printers that I received are the Alpha Wise U20,
which I have sitting in my my living room right now.
and it works. Thank God.
But they
um,
even had firmware issues with theirs
yeah.
too.
So the only issue I have encountered, well, two issues. Um, the SD card that they provided is now in the trash can.
Because you had a ton of
Um,
problems with it.
yeah, so it worked perfectly when I would print the included test prints, which if you see my video on the C3D TV channel, um, I commended them greatly on my initial thoughts video for that. They included like 20 test prints, which I think is fantastic
Yeah.
for new users. Um,
So they can actually see it, you know, producing something.
yeah, and now they're of course all easy prints, like no overhangs,
Right.
what you expect. And as soon as I tried to load my own print onto their SD card, it was causing the printer to crash. The firmware screen would just completely freeze, and I'd have to turn off the printer. To fix it, I got a new SD card. You know, is that annoying? Yeah. Is that a big deal? I don't know.
Well, the thing is,
Uh,
it should work.
it should work. I
It should
agree.
work.
It's my first printer that I've ever received to have that issue. I've never dealt with that on any other machine.
Yeah.
Um, the only other thing is their glass bed was not level, and that's not a big deal to me. I
Yeah.
replaced glass.
So I mean, the thing is, like, you know, it's there's all these little issues, but for a new user, they add up to a huge problem because they end up not being able to use the printer, you know. For, you know, even so, and here's the thing, even someone like me that can handle most printer issues, I don't want to deal with them. If I'm getting I'm getting a new printer, I expect it to work, you know. And I'm just pulling up the notes here. So, you know, we got all these things, and, you know, the one thing that really bothers me is all these constant changes to these models, okay? Creality's done it, G-Tech's done it, TiVo's done it. I'm pretty sure, I mean, even ANET's done it to a point, too.
Alpawise has done it, you know. People are having significantly more issues than I've had with mine.
Right, and the thing is, you know, I don't understand why it's so hard for them to grasp the concept of send your printer out to reviewers, or just people, and get actual feedback on it. Like, why is it so hard to actually QC your printers properly and get feedback and make the revisions before you sell it? Like, even if it's for a month, you know.
Well,
but
for a really great example is you know, me and several of the other guys in our groups, we received the A30 to quality control and give feedback to G-Tech. That was like our job. The entire time we were doing that, they were selling them.
Right, and that's where I got my A30, which is what I gave to Steve.
Yeah.
And I think I just opened the box and checked it out. And just hearing the negative feedback from you and Rob and I think Kevin and that other guy who shall not be named. It's you know, it was just I was like, well, I'm not gonna deal with it. So I gave it to my buddy because he's the one who's actually Steve was actually the one who got me into 3D printing. He let me borrow his M3D Micro because he never used it, and I finally bugged him. I was like, hey, can you just let me play with it? And I got hooked, and then I bought an ANET because I wanted something that was actually able to be modded. You know, but you know, I gave it to him under the pretense of, I'm pretty sure, just based on the feedback I've got from other guys, there's probably gonna be problems with it, but see if you can get it to print. Worst case scenario, we'll just, you know, customize it. And that's what we did. I literally ripped out the board, the LCD, the power supply. The only thing we kept was the frame, the motors, the end stops. We got rid of their probe. I put one of mine on there because their probe didn't even work correctly. Even after dialing it in a million times, it never worked.
Yeah, I threw it in the trash can.
Yeah, I literally threw his entire hot end assembly in the trash can. And the board, I mean, I have their board, like, just like here, we're just talking about QC issues, okay? So I was removing the LCD, okay? So here's the LCD for the A30, or not the LCD portion. There's like a little SD and USB breakout, and as I was pulling the cable out, I lifted the tab on it, the freaking socket popped right off the board. It should be right there. Okay, and I don't know if you noticed this, we just cut the wires because they put so much hot glue on here, you can't even get them off. And the black connector there, you know, even though my camera's off focus, you can see it's not even pushed all the way on the board. That thing is like 7 or 8 millimeters off the board. So just the board assembly isn't even done correctly. You know, like I can literally, like this piece literally should be pushed all the way to the board flush, but it's not. Okay. So, you know, and the problem with this is, and this is one of the things I want to touch on, is this is a proprietary board. This is a G-Tech design board. This is, you know, it says on the back there, they're GTM32 Mini S, and this has the very popular things, the STM, it's an ARM chip, it's 32-bit. Yeah, the STM32. Now,
and just to interject, I want to say they're on V3 of that board.
They're on V3?
V3.
This is V1.1 is what it says on the back here.
There you go.
So you have one, if you've seen V3 on the back of the board. And this board has been out for what, two or 3 months?
Yeah, a few months. Maybe 4 or 5 months at the most.
Okay, so and this is version 1.1 in my hand.
Yeah.
And they're on 3. This is what I'm talking about. Like what changed from this board in my hand to the version 3? We don't know because they're not disclosing this. You know, it's like when I make revisions to my products, I make sure to be like, okay, what's the difference between version 3, 3.1? This is the difference. What's the difference between 2 and 3? Here's the difference. Here's the changes we made. You know, any sort of change, even just a firmware, I increment versions. You know, but the thing is, because this runs they did open source a firmware, which I'll give them props for that. This is supposedly their own Smarto firmware, but it's really bad. You know, And it's just I've got good hardware. Like this board physically and chip wise is decent, you know. But the
Mhm.
fact that the firmware is so bad, it doesn't even matter. I can't, I can't use it. I'm not going to sit here and recode their firmware from scratch essentially to get this working. It took me less time to rip this out and all the other guts and put in an MKS Gen L, and this is where I'm moving into is you got these printers. Why aren't they using standard boards? Why are they going out of their way to design their own boards that have issues instead of using something that's, tried and true? Like even a freaking ramps board. Like, come on. I would rather
Yeah.
have a Chinese ramps board over this thing that I can't do anything with because it's, you got all these proprietary headers. Like, you got this. These are three different stepper motor outputs. So when
Yep.
we had to literally cut all the plugs off this and put our own plugs on to use a standard motor connector with the new board. Creality, luckily, they actually use standard, plugs for the most part. Um,
Hmm.
and even my one gripe about the A10, I do like their GT2560 board, but it's not the original GT2560. It's a revision B. And they did the same
Yep.
thing. They got these longer headers. They're non-standard motor connectors. You got these weird ribbon cables for the LCD. They're not standard parts. So if you ever need to replace something, you're going to be stuck buying their board. You can't just go and buy an off the shelf board and just swap it out. You're going to be spending hours and hours trying to convert it over. And just so you guys know, Cody can hear me. He's got wireless headphones on because he's loaded.
Yes. Sorry.
He's just Mr.
Uh,
Fat Stacks over there.
so so that's revision B. And
Right.
and now this is different than my A10. This came out of Me Creator 2.
Okay.
Um, this is different. It is
Yeah, they
angled.
have an angle one, but it's the same connector
Yep,
essentially.
same board. And then this, for those wondering, was the board out of the A10M, which is just called the GT2560 V3
Right, and they got that second header soldered on there for the
second
dual
header.
extrusion. I will say though, someone made a comment about the capacitor. I'm looking at this. This actually has a Nichicon cap on it on one of them. This other one's Chong X. It's actually not even Chong X. It's just Chong. It's not even Chong X, which is a low-cost Chinese cap maker. I don't know what Chong is, but it's not a Chong X. So, it's just these weird design choices. Like
Yeah.
this probably cost them more to make than buying an MKS Gen L. So, it's just like why are you guys making these choices? Cody, I keep having to move you around. Don't move. I'm like bouncing you around here in my window.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean all sorts of ways.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. Like, why don't they use standard stuff? GTEC is probably, I'll give props to TiVo. TiVo uses, even before they went to the MKS Gen L on the Tornadoes, they had an MKS base, which is a fairly standard board. And that's another thing. They shipped the Tornadoes. Both Tornadoes I got had an MKS base. The ones they're selling now that are still called the Tornado have an MKS Gen L, which is a much better board in terms of expandability. So, it's just this weird iterations. It's like you guys could have done this and gotten this feedback and sold the printer that works correctly right away if you just took some extra time. And I think the problem is you got all these companies and they're just cranking this stuff out as fast as they can. Like look at Creality released the Under 3. GTEC goes A10, and then the A10M. And then, they got their A20 and the A20M. It's just, it's just this weird constant flood the market with all these. And, by the time, the people get them, they're already on a new version, So, Scott Latine from Marlin's actually in here. I think he heard us talking about firmware.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's one of the biggest gripes is why not only create a proprietary board, but create a proprietary firmware on top of a new proprietary board.
Right.
It's kind of the age old question, why fix it if it's not broken? And that's the one thing the Marlin firmware is broken. It works.
Well, Scott does a good job of breaking it sometimes.
Yeah. So I mean That's what I think. I honestly, I think a big reason they do it is because of the big GPL outbursts that China has seen within this last year. Is they're like, oh, we can either comply or we can just not deal with it and make our own stuff.
Well, and I think it's a bet. Now, here's the thing: I cannot recommend the G-Tech A30 because of the electronics in it. Physically, it's not a bad printer, but
Mm-hmm.
the one thing I was discussing was the fact that people that are buying these machines are buying them to mod them. Okay, they're
Yep.
they're going to use them stock for a little bit, and then they're going to upgrade them. You can't easily upgrade these machines with these proprietary boards and proprietary firmware. It took
Yep.
us a total of 10 hours to completely recable and replace electronics in that A30. Now, granted, we took our time, we did everything nice, solder all the cables, heat shrunk everything. We wanted to do it correct.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, an average user is not going to know how to do that. Even an intermediate
Exactly.
user, they might not know how to do that, but you're talking like I happen to have all the hardware and all the connectors and everything. If I would have had to go and buy all that stuff for that project, you're talking just in miscellaneous parts, easily $150.
Yeah.
And not to mention the tools actually put everything together.
And so here's an argument, though, is the Geetek A30 is a sub $400 printer, I believe.
The A30, yeah, it's right around that ballpark, but
Yeah.
it's in the same price bracket as the CR10, and I would recommend the
CR10.
I'd recommend the CR10 over it any day.
No, for sure. I'm not saying it's a recommendation.
But that's what they have to compete against.
But with the mentality of we're buying these to mod them, I agree. I think if you're buying an under $400 printer from China, you're buying it with the expectations of there's probably something that I'm going to have to do.
Right.
Or
you're going to want to do.
So the Hicktop Duality 3 that I received is an $800 printer.
Right. That thing should work.
It should work. Yeah,
and that's my mentality. Once you cross that $800 threshold, like the CRX, I want to get that out of the box and make sure it works because I have 3 Creality printers sitting new in box. I got an Ender 3, I got the CRX, and I got the CR20. Now, I don't own any Ender 3s because the ones I did on a review I gave to people. Okay?
Yep.
So the reason I bought another one was when I got a deal on it for I think $174. And I mainly bought it because I want to see what they've changed on the initial one because I got one of the first ones. I got ones from the pre-orders on AliExpress. I bought 3 of those machines. My brother has 2 of them. So he bought one and he got one of the other ones. So the thing is, if I do a review, and this is what, Angus was talking about, this is what, Tom,
Joel.
I think Tom and Joel and all them, was that by the time I get my review out there, I'm reviewing this initial machine and people get another machine and they're looking at it, they're like, I bought an A30 or A10, but this doesn't look like the one that Tim reviewed. Like, what do I do? It's like right now, if someone that has a new A10 buys like my Easy ABL that works on the first gen A10, they're going to go and get it. And I'm going to get a message from them going, where do I put this mount? Because they completely changed the hot end. So now I'm going to buy another A10 just so I can take all the measurements. Or maybe I might have Matt. I think he volunteered to bring it over, but either way, I'm going to have to get my hands on yet another A10 and then have to put, some sort of, asterisk there to be like, here's the version 1, here's a version 2. Like it's like this hobby is hard enough for people, especially new people, versus them now trying to track down all these changes. It's like Creality
with nothing to differentiate between.
Right. I mean, I have a page on our website literally just for the Creality machines to tell you what freaking model you have because they've changed the boards so many times. And I've got pictures of all the boards, and even that, there's 2 different versions of the V112 board. And now they have a V113 board that looks just like the V112 with a capacitor already on it, but they had a V112 with the capacitor on it. That was after the temperature gate issue. It's just like, how can an average user or a new user be expected to follow this and keep track of all this? They're not going to know.
They're
like
not.
I am like, I eat, sleep, breathe this stuff, and even I am going sometimes like I take 3 days and I'm not in like the whole group. Like I take 3 days off of like the groups and stuff, and there's something new,
Yeah.
or they change something again, and I'm like, Jesus, like you guys are like,
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
Yeah, I mean, jumping back to what we were saying about like Tom and Joel and Maker's Muse over there, when they release those videos, chastising these companies on making these changes, I was actually one of the advocates saying, "Hey, you guys are overreacting," and now I don't know that I think they were overreacting. I think,
No, they.
you
I
know,
don't think they were, and that's
um,
that's why I wanna. That's why I wanna. That's why I wanted to talk about this. Why I want to have this stream, because
yeah,
the whole experience of the A30. I gave it to my buddy, and he has two, like little I'd call them toy printers, the M3D Micro and the Mod T. They're toy printers. They're 3D
mhm,
printers, but they're basic.
yeah,
So this was his first like real printer. And by real printer, I mean something that you can wrench on and upgrade. You know,
mhm,
and he couldn't get it working because the software was terrible. The bed level sensor didn't work. Like, as
yeah,
far as he's concerned, if he bought that, he would have sent it back.
mhm,
Here's the thing: if I bought that A30, I would have sent it back. I would not
yeah,
have taken the time to do it. But because I got it for free, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put some parts into it. But the thing is that I'm not going to give them special treatment, especially like if that was a review printer, that would have been a really rough stream.
yeah.
Um, you know,
And just for everybody, wondering is, we asked, like, we went back to Geetek and said, "Hey, do you want us to publish a review on this?" Because the original intention was to get those printers to provide feedback directly to them on
correct.
improvements,
Which I
and
did. I did. I know
which
you
we did,
guys did.
yeah, yeah, we definitely did, and they came back and said no.
So, and you said originally, because I think you told me, and this was like right after it shipped, you told me that, oh yeah, they did put their little bed sensor in there, but they've already discontinued it because there's too many issues with it.
Yeah, and I was told by my rep at Geetek that they were no longer going to sell it because they couldn't adequately provide the support to the people who bought it, and people did not know how to put it on and configure it correctly without contacting them, and they didn't have the ability to do that.
Yeah. It's, and I think the other problem here just overall is you get people that are new coming into the space and they get discouraged and they give up.
Yep.
And now we got someone that could have been making cool things. They could have been, making products for themselves. They could have just been doing creative stuff. And now they're completely like, oh, 3D printers are terrible, you
Yeah.
know? And it's because they had a bad experience.
Yep.
Um,
There's a reason why people think they can't buy a cheap 3D printer, and the reason is because cheap printers from China have the moniker of, "This is not going to work when you buy it."
Right, and you and I were talking. You had a good analogy here for the printers, comparing them to other commodities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I compared buying a 3D printer, an under $400 3D printer from China. If you compare it to buying a cheap laptop, say from like Walmart, you can buy a cheap $200 laptop.
Well,
That laptop's going to work.
even lower than that. I mean, my buddy
Yeah.
Matt, who's 3D Noob in the chat, he just bought an Asus like 2-in-1 tablet thing with
Mm-hmm.
like a Celeron in it, just like an internet computer, for $180. But
Yeah.
it's slow, which is to be expected for the price point, but it works.
Yeah, it works. Like, you can browse the internet. You can
Like,
do computer
that's
things on it.
that's a whole computer that
Yes.
has way more electronics and way more complexity to it than a 3D printer.
Yeah. And we're buying 3D printers. You can, I'm sure you can buy 3D. In fact, the A10, $180 right there.
Right.
Direct comparison. That Asus 2-in-1, $180. The A10, $180. The Asus computer works. My A10 and several others don't. It's
Right.
a roll of the dice
It is.
if you're going to get a good one.
Because like I said, my buddy Matt, he has had nothing but great luck with the A10. His
Yeah.
Ender 3 is literally a pile. It's in my living room because we
Yeah.
gotta fix it.
And I'm not harping on Geetek. That's just the printer.
Right,
I
yeah,
have
and
literally
just so
sitting in
everyone
the box.
knows, we're not singling out any companies there. That's why I have a bunch of different printer companies in the thumbnail. We're talking in general here, these machines. And you look at machines like Prusa that are more expensive, and they aren't without their issues, but the difference is they actually have a company that cares about their customers. You know, it's just like the stuff we do here. It's like you can buy Creality's bed leveling kit over my Easy ABL, but guess what? I bought their kit. It was dead on arrival, and I still have it sitting here. I contacted them. They won't exchange it. They fought my chargeback. I lost the dispute. So I have a $45 paperweight. And that's what'll happen with the printers too. If you buy a printer from a Chinese company and you have a problem with it, you're on your own to fix it. Because and I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's how it is because they're in China. What are we gonna do? I can't go and, open up a Better Business Bureau complaint against GTech or Creality or TiVo or whatever. They play the whole thing of they're in China and they know that we can't really do anything about it, consumer protection wise.
Hey Tim, I'm gonna step away for like 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm gonna switch over to my main one here while we're waiting for Cody to get back. Put my chat back up. So while we're waiting for Cody to get back, go ahead and post what your guys' experiences are in the chat. Let's talk about it. Because as somebody that has just to give you an idea, I have close to 25 different machines here. I don't even know how many we have because we cycle them out so fast sometimes. But the thing is, when I get a printer, I expect it to work. I don't care if I paid $100 for it. I don't care if I paid $1,000 for it. It should work out of the box. And just to give you guys an overview of some other things we're going to talk about, and like I said, feel free to post in the chat any other things you guys want to talk about. We already went through the constant changes without notice, where they're just changing things without giving anybody any sort of heads up. And that's wrong, because here's the thing: you've got all these people that are buying these machines, and like the A10. I got the original A10. Now, yes, I got it for free, but I'm still a little pissed off that there's already a new version out, and the one I have that's right there, that I haven't even used that much, is already outdated. And we're talking like a month. So, and we got the boards, like anything. Basically, I like printers that have boards that run Marlin. I like printers that run either RepRap firmware. I've actually got one on the way with a Duet from M3D coming. And it's just there's things that these companies don't understand that hurts their bottom line and hurts their appearance and initial impression on the customer. So the couple other things that we're going to talk about, the parts that commonly fail, like the power supplies, the fans, general issues with their wiring, documentation, and just we're going to expand on the after sales support. So welcome back, Cody.
Thank you.
We're just kind of doing a recap, and I'm just going through the chat here. Yeah, Zero Twist Knife 7 is Steve behind me. Yeah, his A30 actually works now. It's called the AE30. But I'm just looking through here. Brandon says, I had to completely disassemble rear and hot end 2 times the other day because it was clogging constantly. Monoprice Mini Delta. I've heard a lot of issues with that, which is sad because it looked like a neat machine. Johnny GTO says he has a CR10 Mini, CR10, and an Ender 3. I bought them to tear them apart and learn. Let's see. 3D Gustner says, I don't buy printers from these companies as they change all the time. I spend more money on Prusa printers which have real warranty and support. And if that's important to you and you want to spend more time making than tinkering, I fully encourage you guys to do that. You got companies like, if you got the money for Lulzbots are amazing. They're amazing machines, but they're expensive. Their entry level system is $1,500. I could buy 4 CR10s for that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to remember when you're buying in the 3D printer hobby is you're not buying print quality, you're buying that warranty and you're buying that support.
Right.
That's where your money is going. I'm sure people can argue, oh, these build qualities are so much better and all of that stuff, but I think in the end of the day, the support and the comfort of knowing that when I get this printer, it's going to work out of the box. And if it doesn't, I have someone to go to and I know I'm going to get support. That's where your money's going.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. B Winky says I had a Kickstarted printer that was made in the USA, only printed 5 times, and that's another thing. Do not back printers on Kickstarter.
No.
I violated that rule with the M3D Crane Quad because they are an established company already.
Have you got it?
I haven't got it yet. They're supposed to be shipping. They're supposed to be shipping it this month. But
Yeah.
for the record, when I signed up, it said I should have had it 2 months ago. So,
yeah.
but in general, I do not, unless you have, unless you don't care when it shows up and you have the money to blow, I would recommend, staying away from anything Kickstarter or crowdfunded. It's just too much of a risk. There's a lot of better options out there, and I think the thing that needs to be conveyed better is, and if you guys look at any of my reviews, I talk about it all the time. I'm very honest with the reviews. I don't give any printers favoritism, because here's the reality: when a company sends me a printer, I don't need a printer. I'm not a new channel, And even even when we were new, I didn't care that they were sending me a printer for free in terms of giving them a favorable review. I'm going to give them an honest review, and I've caught a lot of flack for that, especially from like East 3D. You know that. They got really pissed off because I kept telling them all these issues, and they took some of my feedback, but they ultimately, like, now they have a whole new Core XY printer coming out that has all the stuff I brought up and complained about, and other users complained about on the Core XY Gecko.
Yep.
And that's the thing. They sent it out to me, and they weren't selling it. I got it like a week before they started selling it. I put it together. I had issues. The PSU was defective out of the box. I replaced it.
Live stream, right?
Yeah. They sent me the wrong voltage fans, but I think they gave me a heads up. Not a big deal. I had some on hand, but they, it wasn't told to me that it was a pre-production unit, but after I came out and complained about the issues, they were like, "Oh, that was a beta you got,"
Yeah, but then
they well, then they sold the same one I had problems with.
Yep.
So,
So
it's like,
was
okay, if you're telling me that it's a beta after I gave you feedback, you ignored it, but then you're selling the exact same one with all the same issues that I had, is that really a beta? I mean, because there was nothing on their listing saying this is a, open beta that you're paying for.
Yeah, which I received one as well.
And you just got rid of it.
Yeah, I got rid of it.
Because you're like, you did the same thing with that I did with the A30. I was like, there's too many bad issues. I'm not wasting my time on it.
Yeah, in fact, you gave me the reference. They sent it to me. I opened the box, looked at it to make sure nothing was blatantly broken. And after you said, I messaged him and was like, "Hey, I'm not even interested in checking this thing out based on knowing how the experience that I'm about to have. You guys have completely done this the wrong way by sending us a beta unit without telling us, and now you're selling the same beta unit as a production model when there's issues."
And that was like a $700 kit, right?
So yes, it was like
it wasn't even a fully assembled machine. It was a kit, a $700 kit.
If I'm gonna spend full kit,
right?
Like it was.
If I was gonna spend $700 on a kit, I'd go and buy a Prusa.
For sure.
Like, why would I go and spend $700 on a Chinese Core XY machine with a closed source board that's terrible, when I can go spend $50 more and buy a Prusa?
Yep.
If I'm going to buy a kit printer.
Yeah. And so speaking of their Core XY, that mine should be here tomorrow. I was shocked they offered to send me.
You should send it to me and be like, "Haha, guys, guess who I sent it to?" I don't want it. I don't want it, for the record.
It is not a kit. It is, I want to say, they say it's like 85% assembled. They are sending me what they're calling the upgraded version.
So what's the non-upgraded version?
So to my knowledge, they went from 3D printed parts to not 3D printed parts.
Who cares? As long as they're printed correctly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's like CNC grade aluminum, and stuff like that.
I see Kevin in the chat. I've seen like 5 or 6 people being like, TH3D Studio printer. I am, but I'm doing this thing that we're talking about right now where I'm actually testing it.
Yeah.
Why do you think I haven't sold it? It's not because I've had issues. It's because I'm running it until things start breaking, so I know if there's changes I need to make. And guess what? I'm probably not going to actually have that printer ready for sale till like beginning of December, because I have a list of people, friends and longtime customers of mine that have already said, you know, when you're ready to test, let us know. We'll even, you know, we'll cover your costs. And I'm going to do that. And it's not going to be available to the public until I have a solid machine to sell, because I'm not going to do the same thing that these companies that we're right now sitting here talking about. I'm not going to do the same thing that these companies are doing. I don't care if it delays my product by, like, let's say I find something major that I overlooked, but when my customers found, and, you know, we start having issues, I'm going to hold off on releasing the printer. I don't care if it means I'm not selling a printer and I don't got money coming in from that. I'm not going to sell it. You know,
Yep.
it's that simple.
Everybody's saying they'll test now, Tim.
Yeah, I know. I've already got a list. No offense to anybody. I've already got a list of people signed up. And as much as I wish I could be like, you know, Oprah and giving away printers, we can't. Yeah, we can't.
Everybody look under your computer chairs right now.
Yeah, there's just printers everywhere. So moving on to that, since we're talking about quality and testing, you know, one of the two biggest things I find issues with on these are the fans and the power supplies. Now, the fans are more of an annoyance because, to give you an idea, I was lazy. I got a CR10 Mini. I put it together really quick for Murph, and when it got back here, I just started printing with it. And that thing's been printing for about four or 5 months. I don't know the exact count, but at least 4 months straight. And I just had to completely redo the hot end because I did put a micro Swiss on there, but the stock fan died. So what happened was I got heat creep and I had a ton of ABS melted inside the heatsink, and that was because the stock Creality fan died. Now, to give you guys an idea of the cost, okay, so we sell, TH3D sells replacement fans for multitude of printers. We carry 12 volt and 24 volt, which covers most of the machines. So if you look on our site, you'll see fans of various sizes. So even if it's not listed as working with your printer, measure it and check the voltage, and we carry really good fans. Now, I could buy the Creality fans, okay, the exact Creality ones, okay? I'm not talking like just a random Chinese one. I can buy the exact Creality ones for 75 cents a fan, okay? For the 40 millimeters, the 50 millimeters, and the 60s, I think are almost $1, okay? Someone's asking, is my mic cutting out?
Yeah, your mic's cutting out a little bit, Tim.
Okay, sorry. So to give you guys an idea, you know, like I said, I can get the Creality fans for 75 cents to $1, okay? And that's only ordering a quantity of 100, okay? My fans, I don't have 100% margin on it. We sell them for $10. So to give you an idea, I'm not going to obviously give my exact cost, but I do not have 100% margin on my fans. I have a very low margin on my fans, okay? So to just let that sink in, that I can pretty much buy a whole bunch of Creality fans for what I pay for one. And the reason I don't sell them is because I don't want to sell crap, you know? And the same thing for the power supplies. Now, I'll give you the price on the power supplies because you look up the model numbers on, you know, online and see. But I can buy Creality 12 volt or 24 volt power supplies for a maximum of $8 a power supply. I pay upwards of $38 per main well power supply. I sell those for $45. Those are what in retail you refer to as a loss leader. I have them because people buy other stuff with them. I carry them because I don't make a ton of money, but the assumption is that someone else is going to buy other stuff with it, and then it's worth it then. So just let that sink in. I could be selling the Creality power supplies and making a ton, selling them if I sold the Creality power supplies for $20, I'll make more on those than selling my mean wells for $45.
Yeah.
So, that's just let that sink in to think of the quality. Like, just physically, the mean wells are solid. Physically, they weigh more than the Crealities, despite the Crealities being physically bigger, because there's higher quality components in there. Okay, so, and the thing is, like, the Creality does not put mean wells in the newer CR10s. They don't. I can tell you that right now. If you got a mean well, that was the reseller putting that in. Because Dimitri's saying they started putting mean wells. They don't. The mean wells on the Creality models are on the Ender 3 Pro, and the CR20, and I believe the CRX. Okay, but those are all more expensive models. Okay.
You're saying those have mean power supplies.
Yes. So the Ender 3 Pro,
Okay.
the CRX, and the CR20 all come with meanwhile power supplies. I wonder if this. I just realized I have a fan on. I wonder if that's.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're just blipping in and out. It's like all of a sudden I can't hear you, but some people are saying you're good. So I don't know.
okay. Well, yeah. I'm not sure. This is a USB mic, so it shouldn't be cutting out at all. Um, but I'm wondering if maybe. Hang on. I wonder if maybe because Hangouts is also using the mic, and so is OBS. I just realized since I remember I blocked all those elements on the.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to live with it.
Okay. I mean, it's fine.
So, anyways, my point is they could charge a few bucks more, but they're not going to because consumers are cheap. Okay, and no offense to anybody watching, people are cheap. Okay, and it's that's the reality of it. It's them trying to race to the bottom to provide the lowest price so they can sell as many machines as they can. Okay, because if let's say, just hypothetically speaking, let's say company A and company B have the exact same printer, except company B is putting better quality fans in and a better power supply. Company B's price is now $60 more than company A. Guess which one's going to sell more printers? Company A.
Yep.
And that's the reality of it. That's why,
No, Tim, it's the reality of it.
And that's what I tell people, because I have people going, well, I can buy 2 fans on Amazon for the same price as year one. Go right ahead. In 9 months from now, you're going to be buying those fans again, whereas you're going to pay us one time for the fan, and it's going to last longer.
Yeah.
So and that's one thing I learned as I got older is buy it once, spend a little extra money. I'm not saying go all out and buy the highest end thing you can get. Okay, and if you guys look at all our products that I sell, I try to stay in that mid-range segment where it's not the cheapest, but it's not the most expensive. And that's because that's me personally. That's where I purchase. I don't buy the highest end. Like I don't got that much. I don't got really nice things around here. I got a lot of stuff, but I've got all my stuff is mid-range stuff that's reliable.
Yeah.
And like I like that saying, Kioski says, "Buy once, cry once." Yeah, and you know what? That's a good analogy, because here's the thing: if I would have replaced that fan on my CR10 Mini, I wouldn't have had to spend 4 hours rebuilding and replacing the hot end on it. If I would have just replaced that fan as soon as I put that machine into service, it would have been running.
Yep.
And all the fans in the control box are going out now. I did replace the power supply in there, but I did not replace the 50 millimeter fan and the 40 millimeter fan because I was in a rush. But here's the thing: I'm going to have to replace those fans in the next month or two. Otherwise, I'm going to burn up my board because there's going to be no airflow.
I'm in the same issue. That is one of the other things that I forgot to mention. My U20, that fan, the hot end fan to keep everything cool.
It died, right?
No, it's not dead yet. But
it's making a ton of noise.
It's going crazy, and like I just have to like barely touch it with something to make it shut up, or it's going to drive me crazy.
And that's because they use unlubricated sleeve bearings, not sealed. Like I sell ball bearings and sealed bearing fans. So if you look on our site, it tells you what bearing the fan has. But sealed bearing and ball bearing are better. Okay, if you just see sleeve bearing, not sleeved or sealed bearing or sleeved sealed, there's multiple variations. You don't want them; they're not going to last. To give you an idea, like before I started stocking 5015 fans, I was buying the same fans I sell now for $10. I think we sell them for. I was paying a guy on eBay $13 a piece, but guess what? Those fans are over a year and a half old and they still work. Okay, whereas I bought a cheap 5015 blower fan from Amazon. I got a 2-pack for $10, so less than what I paid for one fan. Guess what? Every single one of those fans is dead now.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. It's going to cost people to understand that it costs you more in the long run to buy cheap. And there's nothing wrong with taking these cheap printers and putting money into them. I've got machines that I've got more in upgrades on than the machine actually cost me. And I'm not talking about machines I got for free. I'm talking about machines I bought and then poured in a bunch of money. Like a good example is I've got my iMaker startup here that has completely been overhauled. I got probably $300 into that printer. It was a $100 machine. But guess what? It's one of my most reliable machines now. And I've got a little printer that I spent about $400 on that prints nonstop. I never have a problem with it now. So I'm just going to breeze through the chat here. Let's see. Yeah. We all know you had fun with the rebuild, Tim. Don't know who you're kidding.
And
Are
yeah,
your
blast.
fans? Yeah, my fans
Yeah,
are my regular fans are quieter. Our blower fans they're not loud, but they're not quiet. But it's because they move air. You know, in
yeah.
general,
Blower fans are going to be loud. There's
I wouldn't call them loud, but they're not quiet.
no,
They're
yeah,
average.
exactly.
And Kevin
You're not
is
gonna.
Kevin is saying Noctua. Do not put Noctuas on your hot end. They don't move enough air, and you'll get heat creep. It's just as bad as having a fan that died.
Yeah,
So look through the groups. You'll see people. I put a Noctua on, but now my printer won't print. Yeah, it's because it's not moving enough airflow. And that's another thing. I did actual airflow testing, compared the stock fan, got a baseline. I actually have I'm probably gonna say this wrong, but enometer, but it's basically a thing that measures airflow. So I made a little duct and took the measurements of the CFM the fan was pushing, and then got something in that same range, slightly lower. But then I took my thermal camera and actually ran prints overnight and checked it at other points and compared the heatsink temp to the stock fan versus the ones I put on there to make sure I'm actually selling stuff that's not going to cause additional problems. Steve is saying this room is loud AF. I don't know who he's trying to fool. That's probably because there's a 12,000 BTU air conditioner to my left running right now.
that'll do it.
Yeah, these machines generate a lot of heat.
Yeah. Yep. So on to our next talking point.
The wiring issues.
Yeah, wiring issues. I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
We
You
could talk
probably
about this for hours.
Yeah, you've probably dealt with this significantly more than me,
Right.
and knowing that it was a wiring issue.
So my main complaint. This is also a safety issue. You've got all these boards. They have you guys have seen them, the screw terminals, the green screw terminals on all these boards. A lot of these companies, for some reason, are soldering the ends of the wires when those kind of terminals are designed to have the stranded wire go into them with no solder on them, because as you clamp it down, I can't talk apparently. Probably I'm going to blame the beer, which I'm out. When you clamp it down, it's supposed to basically fan out the strands in there so you get a ton of contact and you can push a lot of power through it. The problem is when you solder the ends, you create these small points of contact that all this current is going through, and that generates heat, which then melts the connectors, which I've seen them catch on fire before. And then we see companies like ANET where they have your standard screw-on type connectors where it's just the screw with the little square block, square washer looking deal on it, like you see on the Power Spice, and they put bare wires under those. Those type of connectors are meant to have either ring or the I think they're called fork terminals or spade terminals, but the little fork type or the ring type.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're meant to have on the ends of them. And if you don't have that on there in either instance, if you don't have the proper wire termination, you're going to create hotspots and you're going to create points of failure. Because if you put a regular wire into the screw type with the square washer, when you tighten it down, it's going to start breaking the strands because it's not designed for that type of connection. But we see this all the time. ANET is the biggest one that does that.
Yeah. Yeah, and how many printers are shipping without an external MOSFET?
Quite a few. ANET doesn't. ANET doesn't.
I haven't opened the control box of the U20.
The A30 does. I actually kept, that's one piece of hardware I kept in the A30 was a MOSFET, and I had to figure out the wiring because nothing was clearly labeled on it, but it works and it was a decent MOSFET. But
3D Maker Noob opened up the box to the U20, and I don't think it had one.
Okay.
But I have not checked mine. But I mean, I think that's something that should just kind of be an automatic include.
I think my wife is asleep, so I'm not going to ask her for a beer. Although I told him he can take a beer. I'm drinking Spotted Cow tonight, if anybody cares.
I'm drinking Bud Light Lime because I'm.
Is anybody else in the chat drinking your 3D printer problems away? I think you know what? Maybe these companies, maybe the whole reason is they collaborated with the alcohol companies over here to boost sales because people drink to deal with the issues.
That's it. Damn. Bud Light. But
yeah, so I'm just combing through the chat. Maker Mike's he's had a lot of electrical issues with his U20. He said it does not have a MOSFET.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't think so. Um, I've got close to 100 hours of printing on mine, and I can't complain too much about it.
So 3D Gusner, this is interesting. Ultimate Machine Mini Rambo connectors melt when the connectors aren't connected properly and checked every few weeks slash print hours. So are you saying that just if everything actually is correctly in there, they melt? Because that's, I mean, that's an expensive board. The Mini Rambo is not a cheap board. That's $100 board. So I'm just going through. Do we miss anything here? Yeah, I mean, my
Yeah,
office is not that quiet because I've got the AC running. I got my desktop under here. Desktop's not bad. But my printers aren't that loud. It's all the other stuff to cool the room, so it's not like a 90-degree sauna in here.
yeah. So one of the wiring issues that I know I encountered was the ground issue
Oh,
with you,
do you see who's in?
Dave.
What's up, Dave?
What's up, Dave?
Mr. David Petzel's the guy behind the Pets thing.
Hey, Dave. I'll have you know, I have your fan, your cooling setup on at least one of my printers.
I've got it on 2, and I put one on the A30 we built last night, or the night before. So, yeah, it's just so yeah. I mean, general. And here's the thing: some of the stuff is annoyances. Okay, the power supply, these low quality power supplies, like circling back a little bit because we just talked about fans. The stock power supplies are dangerous. I will not run a printer that has a no name power supply in it because I've had too many. Thank you, Steve. I've had too many issues where they've literally blown up, and I come in and I smell burning electronics. Now, luckily for the most part, the fire risk is kind of low, but because they're encased in the metal. But I have seen people, like, because they want it quieter, they take the power supply lid off and they put 120mm fans on the bottom of their CR10 control boxes. Guess what? When that power supply blows up, it's going to catch those fans on fire.
Yep.
You know, the thing is, like, it's dangerous. And here's the thing too. Let's say, you're on the power supply, you're printing, and it blows out. You go to get a new power supply. Well, you put it in, and guess what? The printer doesn't work because that power supply then just took out your motherboard. So now you're spending not only on a new power supply, but you're spending $50 on a new motherboard. It's a chain reaction. Oh, you didn't have to do that, Dimitri. I got my first super chat. Woo!
There you go.
Cheers, Dimitri. I appreciate it.
I would cheers
I'll go
as well, except mine's empty.
If you need to go get another one, go ahead. I will put that towards my my beer fund. Okay, I appreciate it. You didn't have to do that, man. It's great. If you guys wanted to donate, go ahead and hit the Patreon link or go to my firmware page, firmware.th3D Studio, and donate to the Marlin Project. Okay, if you guys want to support us, buy some stuff from the shop. I'm gonna go ahead and hit my little button here. I think that did it. There we go. Make sure you check out our store. There's a link there in the chat. So we got all sorts of stuff, and browse through it. We got a lot of stuff. I just added new stuff today too. We got actual PTFE fittings that work, that actually hold onto your Bowden tube. Imagine that. That's another thing. I don't have it on my talking points, but little stuff like that. Like, I'm sure if you guys have had a Crowley machine, you know how terrible their Bowden connectors are, and that's kind of a big deal. That's the little stuff I'm talking about that adds up to a bigger problem. So, so cheers, Cody. I didn't drink yet. Cheers. Chink. So, yeah, we got Canadian Maker Project in here. This is we got 62 viewers. I think this is a new record.
Yeah.
We were at
I think
almost
the highest
70.
we hit was like 70. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess all that posting worked. But I figured a lot of people would enjoy this chat because we can all relate to it.
Yeah. And I mean, me and you've been talking about doing a live stream for
a while now.
A very long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so we went over the changes. We went over all, our dislike of these weird proprietary boards that just don't work well. Terrible fans, terrible power supplies, wiring issues. And the wiring issues are a safety problem.
Yeah, safety problem. So one of the things I wanted to bring up was a weird combination of not bad hardware, but a really bad final product that I think both me and you encountered.
Which one was that?
The AuthorBot Buddy.
Yes.
So they included Meanwhile power supplies.
They had a decent board.
They had a decent board.
but the
Uh,
firmware wasn't set up correctly.
the firmware wasn't set up correctly. Mine never printed.
Mine didn't print either. I
Um,
I got so fed up with that machine. I sent it to my buddy Nick, who ended up just tearing off the dual extrusion and put a single V6 on it, and he just
yeah,
used it as essentially an i3. D9, do
yeah.
not buy a Wanhao D9. They're terrible, absolutely
No,
terrible. Don't buy a D9. They're
I had
terrible
one.
machines.
I had one, and I don't anymore.
Oh, I didn't even know you got rid of it.
Yeah, I don't.
The
I
Wanhao
don't
D9
anymore.
is a flop. I got a D6. I got the i3. I love them. They're great.
Mhm.
My D6 is printing ABS parts right now. That's one of our ABS machines. So if you bought ABS parts from us, there's a 1 in 3 shot that it came off the Wanhao D6.
Yeah. So, to my understanding, the
Hey,
D9 has gone through.
Tom, we got some people in here. So I don't those of you guys that don't know, Film and Frenzy. His name's Tom. Check him out on Twitter. He does some awesome prints. He plays with some really awesome filaments. He's a really cool guy. So as people come in, if you guys have your own channels, feel free to shout out, and I'll give you guys a plug. I have no problem spreading the love around here. So
So John Morrison just said, "Any thoughts on Core XY printers?" Um,
yeah, go ahead. Tom's blushing. Tom, you're an awesome guy. I love you, man.
uh,
No homo. I mean, unless you're into that, but my wife would probably get mad.
so my thought on Core XY printers is kind of the same as what we've been stating. Is you have what is it, the Tronxy
The X5S.
X5S?
I don't know if you noticed in my shot, there is no Tronxy X5S.
You had one though, right?
I had one.
Yeah.
It was okay, but it was okay after I put about $150 worth of parts in it. I got rid of it because it was my least favorite printer, and I need to make room for newer machines. I basically bartered with my buddy Matt, who's 3D Noob in the chat. He also has a company making Nintendo. I'm probably going to butcher what it is, but he basically makes these awesome little handheld Nintendos that are powered by Raspberries. He does really cool little stuff. But he broke it for some reason. I yelled at him, and I was like, "What the heck are you doing?" It was printing when I gave it to you. Yeah. So there, Core X.
FT5.
That's a core.
know?
That's not a Core XY. That's a
That's
Cartesian
an
machine.
H5, right?
They're pretty good. I see Thomas here. You got flagged. I
yeah.
just approved it.
I don't mind. I think Core XYs are great printers.
They're fast. That's the thing. They're fast,
I-
but they're hard to build correctly.
Build correctly. Yeah. So if you guys weren't here a minute ago, I'm getting one tomorrow. It's called the E3D Sapphire. You can go look at it. Me and Tim both had horrible. Well, Tim really had a horrible experience with their Gecko printer, which is not a Core XY.
The Gecko was a Core XY.
It was.
I put 40 hours of work into it and still couldn't get a better print out of it than my stock CR10.
So
Just
I
let
wouldn't-
that sink in.
Yeah.
40 hours of work. And I finally was like, I posted on my Facebook, I was like, somebody come get this in the next 24 hours, or I'm just turning it into a pile of parts. And my buddy actually sent his friend over to come get it that night.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the Gecko was kind of a unique situation with their X and Y being lifted on the Z by belts and the bed being stationary.
That was my complaint. And
Yes.
guess what? Their
Where-
new printer has lead screws.
Yes. So
I was right.
So most Core XYs, your X and Y stays stationary. It's at the top, and your bed moves on the Z axis on lead screws. And that is the new Sapphire printer that I'm receiving. It is supposed to be like 85 or 90% complete, which is neat. Stay tuned if you guys want to jump over to the channel after we're done with the live stream and subscribe. That video will be coming very soon. I'll probably do a live stream checking that out.
Yeah. I mean, I want them to do good. I don't have any I don't have any ill feelings against them. I just for the record. Yeah. So
I mean, I think Core XYs are great printers. Honestly, I prefer the design from like an engineering standpoint over your standard like Cartesian printer like the CR10. I think you definitely get a more capable printer.
Right. And so I had a lot of people asking me why the printer we're working on is, similar to the CR10,
Yeah.
because the design, it's simple and it works.
Yeah,
You
and,
know,
and I think that's great. The definitely the moniker for like the standard Cartesian i3 style printer is it works. For most use cases, in fact, 99% of use cases, no one is ever going to have an issue with a CR10 style printer
they'll have
over a
issues,
Core
but
XY.
it's
But
going to
when
be
you
minimal.
compare, like when you compare the two,
Right.
like it's hard to argue. You know, you should definitely always go with a Core XY because hashtag Core XY over a standard Cartesian.
Well, here's the thing. This is how you end the discussion here of which design's better. A Prusa is the same design as a CR10. A CR10 is
Yep.
the same design as a Prusa. It's an i3 design.
Yep.
Period. It's a good, reliable design.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
Every single machine I have here now is a Cartesian, and
Yep.
it's because they're simple, they work. They may not have the absolute best print quality, okay? Because a Core XY will print nicer than a Cartesian, but we're talking a tiny bit, and you can tune a Cartesian to print just as good as a Core XY. I'm sure there's some people that will disagree with me, but I could show you prints from a Core XY and put them up against, my Cartesian, and you couldn't tell the difference.
And I think up until, recently, the biggest argument has been Core XYs you've had to either DIY or they were expensive for a decent one.
Right. Folger Tech is not a Core XY, John Morrison. Unless they made a change, that's a Cartesian. The difference is, instead of the bed moving in Y direction, the head moves, or the whole gantry moves. So you got, on your Folger Tech FT5, you got your head here. My hand's the head. It's got the back and forth on the X, just like our CR10s. But instead of the bed moving back and forth on Y, the whole gantry, the whole X gantry moves back and forth, and the bed drops down on Z. So instead of the X gantry going up on Z on an i3 style, the bed drops down. So they're not Core XY. They are Cartesians.
They're actually called H-bots.
Nope, they're not H-bots.
They're not.
They're Cartesians. They're Cartesians. The Ender 4, the Ender 4 is a H-bot. And the problem with the H-bots is they cannot print circles.
And a lot of people get H-bots confused with Core XY.
Right, and
Creality, a lot of companies advertise
Creality does
Core XYs.
Yeah, Tom from Film Frenzy says, I hate Core XY, just saying, Prusa for the win. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tom has done just all sorts of ungodly things that I can't say on stream to get those Prusas. I don't know if he bought them or Prusa gave them to him, but he's a huge Prusa fanboy. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I want one. I want to own a Prusa just because.
Right, just to buy a Prusa. Here's the thing. I just spent $800 on a Core CRX. I could have bought a Prusa, but the thing is, I don't need it. I'd rather play with these other machines, and me doing a review on a Prusa isn't going to help anybody out. No one that follows my channel is going to care about a Prusa. I focus on the Chinese machines. But like I said, and I said before, if you want a machine that works, Prusa, Lulzbot, Ultimaker, all great machines, but you're going to pay for them. That's the trade-off. It's like with my Easy ABL kits. You can go buy a Creality, you can go buy a DIY, you can go do DIY, but if you want something that's going to work and actually has support, you're going to pay more for that because it costs money to employ people to help you.
Yep.
So,
yeah, and yeah. I don't know what else to say.
let's go back on track.
We went way down that Core XY tangent.
So let's go. So TLDR is Cartesian machines for the most part. They're simple. They work. Ultimaker's Cartesian. The DaVinci 1.0 is not Core XY. That is Cartesian. Unless someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's a Cartesian machine. But going back on track, so we were talking about general wiring issues. We did a recap on everything. So the next thing is documentation. Okay. Yep. So I've gotten, when I did, just to give you an idea, the Anycubic Castle, okay, decent machine, horrible documentation. The Tivo Tarantula, okay for a starter machine if you want to go cheap, horrible documentation. Creality's ABL kit, horrible documentation.
Getek's ABL kit.
There's no documentation.
no, no documentation. Doesn't exist.
Here's a sensor. Put it on the printer. What would I do with it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like really,
Plug
like
it in
literally.
and go
I
from
asked them. I
there.
was like, "How do I set up your sensor?" And they're just like,
Yeah.
"Turn the screw till the light turns on." Okay, then what? How do I initiate the sequence?
Yeah. If you guys don't have one or haven't seen one, just be glad because you don't want to. So we have a team of 7 mods, and I don't think that's changed because he who shall not be named left,
Yeah,
and then we've replaced him now. Okay, so there were still 7 then, and there's 7 now.
yeah,
He who shall not be named, I guess, does he claimed to do instruction manuals.
right.
And none of us were able to get the ABL sensor working for the A30, him included. I want to say Kevin, like,
Kind of got it working.
went nuts with it. Like he definitely worked harder than anybody to try to get the sensor to work, and it absolutely would not work.
Yeah, and you guys, I'm pretty sure all you guys have used mine, right?
I think all of us.
I don't
have
know if
used
Andrew.
ours.
I don't know if Voldemort did or not.
No, I don't think he did.
No.
But I know I've used it. So the guy who we were saying who should not be named, his name was Andrew. He was a mod. There's a pretty big falling out with him over issues.
Yeah, it was a weird situation, but
yeah, strange situation that we don't need to really go into.
So
his name was Andrew.
Now, in terms of documentation, again, this is something that costs money to do. Okay,
yes,
so
it does.
Look at Prusa, amazing documentation.
So, question: are you okay if they include instructions on the included SD card?
Do I know that they're on there? Because half the time I don't know until I put it in the printer.
No.
Or until I put it in my computer.
Until you put it, no. So there's nothing telling you they're on the SD card.
Right.
Even I've never seen one that notifies.
Even a piece of paper that's like, hey, instructions are on here.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those.
Like, because just for example, when someone buys my ABL kit, our system sends them a thing saying thank you for purchasing, yada yada yada, feel good stuff. Here's the guide link, here's a video link, here's how you contact support. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. David Petzel goes in Chinese ? I believe the word you're looking for is English. Because even if they do documentation, you don't know what they're saying half the time. Yeah, because they paste it into Google Translate.
I'm not okay with it coming on an SD
card. I would prefer either a website or a printed manual, and I would prefer the website over the printed manual because if they do have changes, I can just make them.
And I'm honestly the way Geetech does it by just printing it on one sheet of paper, front and back.
Yeah,
is perfect. Like that's fine. That's all it needs to be. Most of its pictures, like their English is very limited.
The TiVo, I will say one thing I will commend TiVo for, the Flash documentation was actually really good and actually in English, not just half translated English, actual English.
I don't have one of those yet.
Oh, Dave got me though. He told me there's no documents to install the googly eyes.
You gotta
well, and you guys would be surprised. We've gotten dozens of tickets asking what they're for. They send us a picture going, what are these for?
What are the googly eyes for?
They're googly eyes, whatever you want.
How long have you started including those?
I think we've been doing it for about a month or two. People seem to like them. I like them. They're fun to put on stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody, Prusa sends out candy. Other people send out other swag. I like googly eyes.
I love when you see like the videos of them on the hot end and they're just going back and forth. It's
oh, this is interesting. Dimitri says you have a Canadian to thank for the TiVo Flash documentation. Interesting. How do you know this, Dimitri? Is that you, or you just know of the guy who did that?
Yeah. So
Scott put them on their plants. Scott put his googly eyes on his plants.
So yeah, I mean, I do think like it would be smart for these companies to have an American or someone who speaks English natively, or just really well, to write these instruction manuals.
But that costs money.
But it does. And so the question is, for the community is, do we get everything we want and increase the cost, or are we okay with spending this low price and receiving printers that
Well,
are a roll of the dice?
what did I say earlier? What's the problem here with the price? It's
So
consumers.
it's consumers.
It's the race to the bottom. It's the
Yes.
race to the bottom to get stuff as cheap as they can, and it's them filling the need. So China will sell you whatever you want. They sell based on
Yeah.
market demand. Okay, they're like any other company. The difference is that China is competing with China to get to the bottom, because like I will tell you, let's say hypothetically, I had the capability to crank out 1,000 of my printers a month.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't think we could sell them at that level. Like, to give you guys an idea, Creality in the first week sold 500,000 Ender 3s.
Wow.
500,000. Okay, 500,000. Okay, let that sink in. This company launched a printer and sold 500,000 machines in a week.
Yep. So with that being said, let's focus on Creality a second.
Okay.
So Creality launched the CR10 almost 2 years ago. So February 2017, I think, was when Preston over at Press Reset
Right.
released his video, which got me to buy mine. And
I bought
this whole
mine
thing
because
started.
I saw it at Murph 2017, and then I found out about Tiny Machines, and I bought mine through Tiny Machines.
Yep. So I bought mine from GearBest in February, within days of him releasing that video. And then I started the group and all of that, and that's kind of all she wrote there.
And now you have no life because of the group.
Now I have no life.
And I have no life because TH3D, because the group.
Because yeah, so
Your group is the reason why I'm working 80 to 90 hours a week. So thanks, Cody.
You're welcome.
The money is not worth it. I'll tell you that right now. I do not do this for the money because I effectively make $10 an hour right now. My guys that work for us make more per hour than I do. I wish I was joking. I seriously do.
Yeah. So
take it easy, Zero. Zero's taking off, so take it easy, man. I'll see you on Discord.
Yep. Thanks for hanging out. So the question is, focusing on Creality, has Creality rode this wave correctly? Because they were definitely unknown prior to this point. Now I would argue that they are one of, if not the largest Chinese 3D printer manufacturer in the 3D printing space.
I think they are. Sorry, I was talking about people were asking what our Discord is. I just posted a link to our Discord there, and we're gonna go ahead and I pressed my little button there.
Christopher said, "You get paid."
I know, right? Yeah, you guys. Like I said, if I was in this for the money, I would have shut this company down. Like yeah. I try not to think about it. I try to think about the people we're helping and the fun we're having, like this stuff, So
yeah. So I mean, do you think overall Creality has continued to ride this wave that they've received off of the popularity of the CR10 correctly? And if they haven't, or even if they have, what could they have done better? Or what have they just completely botched that they should look back on and be like, wow, we need to change that?
I think they wrote it out as best they could. I mean, I don't think there's really a right way. I think they did, especially, they're still navigating, all these Chinese companies are navigating the whole concept of social media right now. And they're realizing the power of that as a marketing tool. I mean, we use social media as a marketing tool, even just organic marketing, even just people recommending stuff, it's a very powerful thing. Mm-hmm. And the reality is that I think if it wasn't for the group you started, I don't think Creality would have been as popular, because there's 30,000+ people in that group last time I checked.
Yeah. we're at 50,000.
Jesus. So,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm sure that's a small fraction. That's a small fraction of the people that actually own the printer, but
Oh, for sure.
um, you know, it's a very large customer base. You see all these other companies coming out. Like I've got a CR10. You know, I hate calling printers CR10 clones because it's an i3 design. You know,
Yeah.
but everybody that sees an i3 design with a control box, they think it's a CR10 clone. You know, um, I think overall their machines are decent. I think TiVo is catching up very fast, and maybe and
Mhm.
actually in certain aspects are exceeding them.
Yeah.
My only complaint about TiVo is they love their AC beds, and from a consumer standpoint, they're dangerous.
Yeah. So I haven't had a TiVo since the original Tornado.
I still have my
And
original Tornado, but it's heavily upgraded.
yep. And I don't have mine. And then the I'm trying to think. I'm probably
Yeah,
wrong.
think
Who
about
was
that. Think about that. David Petzl's asked me, will tariffs affect sales? Printers are not tariffed. The individual parts would be, but if you import the printer with the parts already on them, it's considered a complete product, and they're not. They're exempt from the tariffs. They're not in there. So I like the 24-volt beds. 24-volt beds are awesome. AC beds are dangerous because if something, yeah, he said he corrected himself. 24-volt or AC bed. Yeah, my thing
yeah.
is they're dangerous because the wires are eventually going to fray and someone's going to touch mains voltage and get electrocuted.
Yeah. So
Um,
the other printer I was thinking about was not a TiVo printer, but
what's the
yeah, I
other
mean
one?
it was the E10, the
Oh, the
ANET E10.
ANET. Do not buy
Yeah.
any ANET printers. They're terrible.
Yeah.
They literally have like laughed at us in terms of the GPL stuff. I will never buy another ANET machine in my entire life. I don't care if
Yeah.
they come back and start complying. I will never buy another ANET printer. Period.
Yep. So my Tornado worked fine. It printed fine. Everything worked great. I gave it to a buddy of mine, and he uses it still. And it was one of the original. I mean, I didn't get it too long after they were announced.
Well, and going back to the whole, you know, the issues with them, to give you an idea, if you have a original, especially the original Tornado and even some of the other ones, if you swap the power supply and the SSR that they put in, the machine works a lot better because just because the power supply is so bad that it causes problems with print quality. It works, but if you have an oscilloscope and you put the output on there and check the ripple, it's horrendous. It was like
Wow.
600 to 700 millivolts of ripple, which is terrible. Meanwhile, power supply is around 20 to 40 at most.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's but didn't you say the Flash is a different story that they're running better parts on it
The
out the
flash,
box.
yeah, the flash, I would say, and you can see it right. I never know where to point. Right here.
Yeah.
I have to get that hooked up. But just physically, it seems like they put a lot more effort into it. It's got a lot more polish. It's got higher end parts on it. I got to get mine set up. That's going to be my BL Touch test bed because that comes with the higher end model comes with a BL Touch 2, and I'm not a fan of them. But I'm going to use that to play with it to see if it's something I want to carry.
Did you get the 98%
Yes.
higher end model? Yeah.
They sent
So
that to me directly. I didn't buy it.
I'm receiving the same one.
Mine has a dual Z with the TMC 2100s and the BL Touch.
Yep. So yeah, well, I'll be receiving the same exact printer.
I mean, just the initial impressions. It's a good machine.
Yep. So Robbie Mack said any messing with this LA and resin. If you see on Tim's stream, he has
he
the
can't.
photon.
He can't. They can't see it on their view.
Oh.
Hang on. I'll hang on. I'll switch to my main camera. There's the photon right there, which I just cleaned out because I had resin sitting in the vat for a while.
Yep.
I like it. Resin
have a
printers are a
photon.
completely different animal, but
Yeah,
that
totally.
photon, my power supply already failed on it.
Really?
Yep, and I bought a new one.
Wow. So mine have had no issues, and I've printed a lot. I'm a pretty big nerd.
I was just about to call you a nerd.
I play Dungeons and Dragons.
Nerd.
And I have printed an extremely large number of miniatures on it, as well as some like figures and stuff. Yeah. It's a whole nother beast. I think the Chinese companies are just now really diving into that market.
Yeah, there's a ton. We're going to start seeing a flood of those.
Yeah.
I think we're going to start seeing a flood of dual extrusion printers because they see people go into that. Um, just in terms of trends, everybody's doing flexible plates now. We just literally placed an order for flexible plates with our supplier. There's like all these waves that happen, and you see everybody jumping on board. I
Yeah.
try not to get too into it, but like you and I, Cody and I were actually trying to get flex plates made here in the U.S., but it proved to be very, very expensive. So we have
Yes,
to.
it was.
I'm getting them from a guy. I think he's in Taiwan or Hong Kong. Um,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah. Um, but all right. So we're talking about documentation. I think we're going to see improvements. TiVo, like Dimitri 2014 said, they had someone in Canada write theirs, which is probably why I went through the guide. I was like, this is actually understandable. So,
Yeah,
you know,
and I mean, I think that's what they should do. I think if these companies looked at it as we need to make these printers affordable and work,
right.
and not just affordable. I think right now they're just extremely focused on price point. Um, and if they focus a little bit more on quality, I think you would see these companies be recommended a lot more.
Well, let me give you an example of a Chinese company doing things physically right. The company ZinkyBot, they sent me their capsule to check out, which I've mentioned multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
That's a $400 printer. That's a 120 by 110 by 100 build volume. So a really small printer, but guess what? That thing prints amazingly out of the box.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably put it up against a Prusa in terms of print quality out of the box. They did a lot of stuff right, but it's $400. And
Yeah.
it's not a huge seller because guess what? People go, well, I can buy a CR10 for 400. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter that this printer is superior in every way mechanically because it's got the smaller build volume. People aren't buying it as much. It comes back to the whole thing. Consumers are cheap in general. Now, I'm not calling everybody cheap. I'm just saying in general, people want to spend as little as possible. There are people that have extra money and disposable income or their businesses. Like me. Like me overall, I'm now at the point where just for time reasons, I'm going to spend a little more so I don't have to screw with things as much.
I'm in the same boat. If I'm looking to purchase a 3D printer with my own money, I am going to spend the money to get a printer that I'm going to put together if that's required, and I'm going to expect it to work.
Right.
To just work. I don't want to sit there and mess with it for 3 hours, 4 hours, or longer to try to diagnose why this weird issue is happening. I want to get it, open it, put it, have it going in an hour or less if it's, primarily put together and not have an issue.
So, with that, let's segue into after sales support or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get a show of hands. How many of you guys in the chat? Okay, because we got a good amount of people. We got 59 viewers on. How many of you guys have have a Chinese printer and contacted the manufacturer for help? How many of you guys actually got help when you contacted them? So let's just give it a second here. Let's see what people's answers are. So how many people contacted them and actually got help? Steve, you didn't get help. He came down here and was like, "Fix this pile."
Help me, please, Tim. Help me, please.
I should do a time lapse of us working on it because I got the overhead camera right here. Just have a time lapse of all this stuff. It was 2 nights.
So while people are answering, I'm just gonna take people on a little time travel.
And smash that like button. Subscribe if you're not, guys. Come on, do the YouTuber thing. Smash that like button. If I get a million likes, I will do a stream naked. Oh wait, you guys probably don't want to see that. So I will keep my clothes on. I will keep my clothes on if we get 100 likes.
Yeah. So to step back in time a little bit while we're seeing everybody say that they didn't get support because that's what we all expect.
Crowley just told me to return it to Amazon.
Yeah. So do you remember? And I'm sure you do, Tim. Do you remember the whole GearBest riots that happened within the Facebook groups?
What?
The whole GearBest riots where I don't know if you were a mod. I think Chris from Tiny Machines was a mod at the time, and
I
maybe
forgot he
even
was a moderator.
he was. So he stepped down way back when. But him and Preston from Press Reset were a moderator, and this was real early. This was when the CR10 launched, and the primary place to buy them was GearBest. That's where everybody was going.
Right.
Um, and I remember everybody initially was having issues with the Z coupler being stretched in shipping, and essentially it caused so much bad support issues through GearBest. Creality was saying it's not our problem. Contact the person you bought it from.
Right.
And GearBest was not knowing how to handle all of these floods of issues coming in. That was essentially on, I mean, the Z coupler that they included on the original CR10s is probably less than $1.
Yeah, so I mean, just me personally. So I bought a JG Aurora A5. I think it was a Hicktop rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the couplers are stretched to hell. The LCD was disconnected. I bought it through Amazon. I contacted their support, and they told me to send it back. I contacted Amazon. I said, "Listen, I run a 3D printing company. I can fix this. So either give me a good discount off it, or I'm just gonna box it up and send it back."
Yep.
So, and they sent me a 30% discount. So, if you guys know how to fix your machines, you have issues, try to push for a discount. Maybe make it worth your while. And that's the whole. And I mentioned this before. The whole um the whole thing when I'm gauging a printer is cost to value. Okay, so if I spend $300 on a machine, my expectation is going to be much lower than a printer I spent $800 on. Okay, because I'll tell you this: if I unbox that CR10, okay, the CRX that I paid $800 for, I'm gonna go back to Amazon and be like, this thing's broken. Um, I want to I want to return it. Because depending on if it's a minor issue, whatever, but I'm still going to go to them and be like, listen, this had a problem. This is what I had to fix. This is how much time it took. I want to be compensated for my time.
Yeah.
And there's nothing
And
wrong with doing that. I mean, and when people like, if someone like I've had people where we sent out a product to them and they had an issue, but it was a minor thing and they fixed it, and I go here. They don't even ask for it. I'm just like, here. Like if you would have contacted us, we would have swapped it out, but they just took it upon themselves to fix it, and I give them a partial refund. Because that's what you should do. That's
yeah.
the right thing to
And
do.
so a good thing that I've seen recently and I just want to kind of make this plug a little bit is if you're considering buying a 3D printer, go on Facebook and see if there's a 3D printing group for it.
Yeah.
I
That's one of the
can't
reasons I bought the ANET A8 because the community around it was huge.
yeah.
I did all
I
my homework even before I was before I was, as deep into it as I am now. I spent months researching it.
yeah.
And
My
I knew
my
what I was getting myself into, but a lot of people don't. They just buy a printer and
yeah.
they get it and they're like, "Well, what do I do now?"
Yeah, my buddy who got me into it had a FlashForge Creator Pro, and he got me on the train. Um, but for instance, my Hicktop Duality 3 is not working. They have a group for it. There's not a lot of members,
Right?
but the Hicktop reps are active in that group. I want to say there's less than 200 people in it, but the Hicktop reps are there and they are answering people's questions, and the thing is, most people aren't going to think to look for that. So I don't think that I don't think I can commend the companies on just being there, because they should have avenues where the customers can reach out outside of Facebook. But
Or specify that this is how you get help is in the
yeah,
Facebook group.
the Facebook group.
Communicate that that's what the expectation is that if you want help, go in our Facebook group.
Yes, there's a community here. Whether we help you specifically or the community helps you, it doesn't matter. It makes the company look better. Um, and the funny thing is a lot of people, in fact, the main place where people are buying the Duality 3 is off Amazon. And the Hicktop rep in that group is saying, do not return your printer. if you return it and buy a new one, you're gonna buy one with the same issues or different issues. But they are offering, if you're in the Facebook group, you will and you message them and say, "Hey, this is my problem." They are going to contact you and try to replace the parts that you need replaced at no extra charge.
I just wanted to bring this over here. I was just checking our Twitter here, and
Uh-huh.
I tweeted out live stream tonight, and
Yeah.
just scrolling down, I saw there were 2 comments. Here's Scott here, and that's all Naomi said.
What Naomi's?
Just a little smiley face with a sweat mark on its forehead, laughing.
That's great.
I thought that's hilarious.
That's great.
Uh,
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think that's great. Now, my personal experience with Hicktop so far has not been great. Their response to me was read the manual. But the fact that they are, that they put publicly in their group that they will replace the parts that are wrong on your printer at 100% no cost to you,
right.
like that's doing it right.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, like, it's I can't talk. Matt is saying Emma Green will help you out on the G Tech. I have seen her a lot, and I know that you were getting special treatment, so to speak, because of your standing with them. But they are, so I know like TiVo caught a ton of flack because their support was resistant, but I have seen them getting better about it.
Yeah, so I will say in the and it's bad because I'm about to plug a group that's not mine, which feels
That's
weird.
fine. I do it all the time.
But in the official Gtech, in fact, I will feel free to link it in chat in a second. But the official Gtech group, I see Emma commenting on almost every post that has an issue, and whether she is trying to answer your problem, she is linking you to the same exact guy who I've been talking to fix my
Well, okay,
problems.
so then I wouldn't consider that special treatment. Now, just to show you guys, like I've got, I'm just gonna show a little bit here. So this is my OneNote for TH3D. Hopefully I can bring it over without showing anything. So I've got a canned response here. So if you guys have probably seen me post this. I do the same thing. If I see someone, requesting help on one of our products, I post this here. We don't like clogging up the Facebook groups with support issues. You do have free support free of charge with the ABL kits. Please contact our support, and there's links and everything with our hours. Just something to direct them to the right thing, because some people don't read. And I've directed. I do read. Me and our support guys, we read the tickets, and if it's clearly something where they probably like 99% sure that they skipped something in the manual, we'll tell them to read the manual. But if they then come back going, "Oh yeah, I did this," then we'll work with them. So
Tim, approve that link real quick.
Okay. I don't see it.
I just posted it. C3D TV.
Do you
chat?
I don't see it here. It doesn't say it. What is the URL? Send it to me on Facebook. I'll post it.
All right, here you go.
Yeah, it's I'm always nervous when Brandon, it was nice talking to you, man. Samantha's gonna get your replacement order out to you tomorrow. So Brandon's entire order got stolen. So
Wow.
we're reshipping it and handling the claim and stuff for him. So I was chatting with him on the phone earlier. Really cool guy. If you guys look him up, I don't know if that's the
Stepping away real quick as well.
Yeah, hang on. So I'm just posting here. G Tech group is the link I just posted. Yeah, his stuff got stolen, and we're taking care of him. So, yeah, he has a. I want to check it out because I like watching weird videos. He does knife sharpening, so really niche, but something I would probably actually watch. But yeah, so if everybody's listening, Alexa, play Baby Shark.
Baby Shark.
Oh dang it! I got myself. um, so yeah, let's see. Let's go back through the chat. Brandon, send me a link to my email that I gave you earlier. Um, let's see. Bill D. IT says, do you know if the Corelli 2.1 board is the same temperature stability as your Mine 2 of them seem by about a 5 to 10 degree temperature jump? That's yeah, that's bad. They can. It depends on the cap that's on there and if it's bad. I've only had, so we've sold, I think, 200 or 300 of the CR10 dual boards. I've only had one that had the temperature issue, even with the proper cap fitted, and I had the guy send, send it back, and we did the cap replacement. He was on his way. That's funny. Yeah, my email's simple. I know you're trolling. How many people did I get with the echo? um, so I mean, I think that about wraps it up. We're gonna open it up to everybody. So if you guys have questions, comments, now's the time to post it. So we've covered all of our topics here. Covered all our topics. I'm just go back here. So we talked about the constant changes that they're making. It kind of screws over the early adopters and, misleads people when they're watching reviews. My dislike for the proprietary hardware, closed source firmware that just doesn't work, wiring issues, power supply problems, fans that don't work, poor documentation, and just the general non-existent after sales support. And like I said, I think TiVo, G-Tech, they're getting better about it. That's one thing that Creality hasn't stepped up yet, is they still have next to no customer service at all.
Yeah.
And they should. They absolutely should. They definitely have the funds to pay people.
And yeah, I mean, we're coming to the end. Do we want to make a comment on how these companies have started handling these groups? For instance, like how Creality has dealt with our group and how that has shifted.
Well, so here's the thing. They originally, liked liked your group, and now they have their own. Now, so the funny thing is, I'm trying to type my email here in the chat for Brandon.
Oh, you're fine.
So yeah, just set that down there. Thank you, Steve. So the it's kind of weird. So they have this, you guys have the biggest group, period, for 3D printers. I think in general, I think there's only one other bigger than you. I think you guys passed the ANET group in size already.
Yeah.
And so the Creality people started their own group. I was actually added to it by Al Shurin. And they banned me from it because Creality hates me because of the GPL stuff, which is funny. I think it's ironic. Like I said, that's why I have a love-hate relationship for them.
And your ABL sensor.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They're all they're doing is marketing for us because their stuff doesn't work. But I'm not gonna go on a rant about that. Yeah, they have an official group, and I was in it.
The group we're talking about is our name is kind of long, so it is the Creality CR10 and CR10S 3D printer user group. We are up to, as of right now, 43,714 members.
Is that including all the fake Indian accounts you bought?
That is including all of the fake Indian accounts I bought.
It's an inside joke here.
So yeah. So originally, of course, Creality loved us. We were huge. We were a very large marketing platform for them without them having to do anything. And yeah, so needless to say, they were a fan of what we were doing with creating. We were creating them essentially free support. Now, as they've grown, they've created their official group, which Ashran, I think, started with them. which now they don't want to associate with our group nearly as much,
Right.
if at all. Um,
Because I think they want to have, like, I have been seeing, like, there's been when I was in the group for a brief period, they banned me since.
mhm.
Um, I haven't even posted any marketing or anything in there. I was actually added by other people. I've been removed twice because I joined on my own just to kind of, hang out in there. And then Al Shurin added me back in, and we found out when we were just about to do this stream that they full on banned my account. So they are censoring. They're censoring. So they want to curate what posts are being made, because if you scroll through there, most of it's positive. Whereas if you scroll through the group you manage, there's a lot of problems, and that's why people are coming there. So
Yeah. And so
they
that
want
was
to
also
cover it out. They want
so
to cover it up.
so there was, for people that don't know, and Tim, you might not even know this, is there was a group, a CR10 group before mine that existed. That was first. And it actually still exists. I'm not going to name it because it's irrelevant.
Well, they pretty much just use it to shill their gear best links.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was all, they were stealing everybody's codes and using them for their own affiliate links. And every single post in the group, every single comment made in the group was admin approved by the guy. Nothing was posted. He had to go through and approve everything. And what you saw was everything was positive and everything was made so that guy would get sales.
Correct, because if there's an overall positive response, people are going to be more apt to buy the printer. Because we ask questions when you join the group, and there's a lot of people that join it to see what they're getting themselves into before they buy the printer.
Yep.
And if you're joining this group that is making them a ton of money, let's be honest, they're making a ton of money off those affiliate links. Okay.
Yeah.
They're making thousands of dollars a month off those affiliate links. So, if the group has generally positive feedback, they're going to be more apt to use that affiliate link and buy the printer, versus where if it's a mix of good and bad, people are going to be less likely to purchase them.
Yep. And Demetri said, just like Creality is doing in their group, and that's exactly right.
Yes.
The official groups by the official company are there to make their products look good.
Right. And if you guys, even those of you guys that are my customers, you guys will know that even in the TH3D group, there's a lot of people posting issues and asking for help. I do not censor the group at all, because I feel like that's disingenuous. And, what people do have to realize, though, is when you're going into these groups, people are there to get help because they have a problem. Not many people are going there to just talk about how awesome the stuff is. You do see people showing off prints, but in general, it's positive. I thought I was going to have to, Outlook apparently update. I just opened up Outlook to get Brandon's link, and it looks completely different now. I'm going to plug Brandon's knife sharpening channel here. So if you guys want to check it out, it's right here. And before we go further, because I don't know how much long Jerry's going to be. So Jerry Knapp is in our chat. He's an awesome guy. He makes awesome prints. He's also a customer of mine, in full disclosure. But he's a general guy. He even sent me a Christmas card, which was awesome.
Look at that.
I know. I felt so guilty. I was like, now I was like, I feel like such a dick. But Jerry reached out to me. So if you guys haven't checked him out, I think it's 3D HP is the name of his community. You can check him out. Jerry's Projects is what he's known as, but he goes, I got too many prints that I've made and finished. Can I send you one? And he's, the one thing that I wanted was his Ghostbusters diorama, but he had a lot of work into that. I was like, that's fine. I was like, just send me something, because I like seeing these finished prints. So I got this giant box that showed up. So to give you a idea of the size of the box, I got this big Amazon box here. And inside it is this print that he printed and finished of the alien guy from the Cantina band on Star Wars. Look at the size of this thing. And it's hollow.
Wow.
No supports. He printed it like this. Like that. No supports at all. nice and solid. I think he said he used Chinese filament, but this is awesome. I got to find a spot to put this on display because
Yeah.
this is crazy. So I just want to give Jerry a plug on here. I've had this for a couple weeks and I feel bad that I didn't get to it. But we got a lot of viewers on here, so I figured I'd show this off. But this
Yeah,
is
that's
awesome.
awesome.
So, um, so yeah, let's see. Yeah, he even put some business cards in here too. So here's his card, 3D HP. Oh, look at my camera focused. And he has got his stuff here. So Facebook, 3D printing and tinkering, YouTube, Jerry's Projects, Twitter, @Jerry's Projects. Come on, Logitech. And Instagram, 3DHP _ Jerry's Projects. So, yeah, if you guys want to send me stuff, go ahead. I got no room for it, but I'll figure something out. The address for us, our mailing address is on the TH3D Studio site in the lower left-hand corner. Can you guys think of anything else that we haven't covered yet? Is there anything you want to add, Cody, now that we've been going for a while?
No, I mean, I think we covered pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. And just kind of vent. That's more or less what this was about. Was me and you talk quite a bit to each other about stuff like this, but to get the community involved and to get what people think and other input on the situation.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So, guys, feel free to chime in. Like, this is an open discussion here. Good feedback, bad feedback. I want to know what your guys' experiences are because it helps us, especially since we deal with these companies, it helps us give them feedback and, not just from us, but from actual regular customers, not people that, are doing reviews and giving them exposure. So, can STL files contain viruses? I don't believe so, but I wouldn't say it's outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Trying to get really creative there.
um,
How about the the expletive glass that comes with 95% of Chinese printers? Yeah, their glass, somehow China managed to screw up making glass. We've been making glass for thousands of years. Well, I don't know exactly how long humans have been making it, but yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. Sam Craft, could you email in advance of these casts? Hate to be so late to part. I actually plugged the crap out of this. I sent an email out through our site. I posted it on Twitter. I posted it on our Facebook page. What did we share it out? You and I were sharing it out to, like, I think 15 or 16 different groups.
Yeah, we shared it out quite a bit.
We will give more notice. I'm about to, tomorrow I'm going to go and in the morning blast out because we're going to have another live stream tomorrow. So come back tomorrow, and it's going to be an Ask Me Anything. I'm going to see if I can get my wife to come on. I don't know if she will, so no promises, but we're going to be doing giveaways tomorrow to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. We would have done it, but Comcast screwed me over last weekend. That's when we were supposed to do it. So it's been rescheduled to tomorrow. So tomorrow night, I think I'm going to kick it off around like 8 p.m. Central. Stay tuned and subscribe, hit the little bell notification because subscribe doesn't mean anything. You won't get a notification unless you hit the little bell. I'm gonna
also, is this something that you guys want to see me and Tim do more often? We've talked about doing these type of live streams on a more regular basis.
Yeah, do you guys like hearing two nerds drinking coming going on and on? Someone said check your Twitter. Which Twitter? My personal one or the Ryan Sharp said check my Twitter. I'm checking my tweeters. Which one? I have two. I have my personal. If you guys want to follow me personally, my Twitter handle is House of Bugs. It's a handle I've had since I was in my AOL days. My company account is TH3D Studio. Cody, do you want to plug? You want to let them know where they can follow you guys at?
Yeah, so you guys can follow us right now on Facebook on the C3D support groups page. Tim, I will send that to you so you can link it in the chat. And you can follow me over at YouTube /C/C3D TV. And we will be getting more stuff coming very soon. It's kind of the beginning right now. But yeah, so that's what we got right now. We're working on bringing a lot more content to you guys and more than just video format
Yeah.
and off of Facebook. So yeah,
Yeah, and Cody's. I'm gonna send Cody the full raw recording. Although I don't know how you're gonna want. I'm looking at total data output. The raw recording to my hard drive is 48 gigs.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw Ryan Sharp's comment. He just says again question mark. um, yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Jerry said Cody John, right? Yeah, I'm Cody John on
yeah, you're
Facebook.
Cody John.
Um,
His full name is Cody Warthog.
that's correct. I also saw Dave Petzel asked what are our thoughts on the Lurge boards.
I don't
And
like them.
No, I haven't really messed with one yet, but one is coming on the printer that I'm getting tomorrow.
That's
It's
a
the
hard
Lurge
no.
X.
That's a hard no.
And everything that I've read is bad, is not good. So I will be sure to let you guys know what my experience is with that on this new printer that I'm receiving.
Oh no, Matt One UK is here. We better shut it down. There goes the neighborhood.
Tim, did you link the C3D support groups page in chat?
I will right now. Let me go to the Book of Faces here. Yeah, so yeah, guys, I'd really appreciate it just for YouTube ratings and stuff. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you aren't already. Please subscribe. We do a lot of stuff on here. I do guides. I don't know if you guys saw the last video I did. I showed soldering a board, doing a board repair live. One of our customer boards. Just showing off my nerd skills. And I've got this fancy little thing here that's turning on right now. If you guys can see it off screen here. No, you can't. I just switched over. I just cut Cody off. But we have a if it comes up here, which it's not for some reason. Deactivate, activate. There we go. We have an actual like digital microscope here. So I'm going to be doing more videos showing you guys how to do repairs and DIY stuff that we charge to do. I want to show people how to do because you know, I do believe in sharing information, regardless if I can kill my sales on certain things. But I like doing this stuff. I like showing you guys how to do things. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and plug Matt One UK. If you guys haven't gone and checked out Matt One UK, he's a guy over in the UK. Obviously, he does awesome videos. He's a good friend of mine. Known him for well over a year on Facebook. So, and then here is the C3D support group page. You can go ahead and like that on Facebook. That's the like conglomerate of support groups that Cody is, you know, the founder of. I help him out with that too. I'm more on the back end. I kind of just passively approve people, sort through all the member requests and delete posts that don't need to.
Which is a task.
I probably spend like 3 or 4 hours a week at least,
Yeah.
like just approving.
To put that into perspective for everybody, I went through 400 member requests today between two of the groups, and we're already back to over 100 requests that need to be gone through. So it stacks up quick. But yeah, I want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. This has been a great stream.
Yeah,
I mean, we stayed over 50 viewers this entire time.
Yeah, so. I think this has been the highest amount of viewers, and I think I need to do what we did now. And that was only like a 30-minute heads up we gave people. So
yeah,
yeah, I definitely need to work on publicizing our stuff more. You know, and also I just got a message back from Al. Jack Chen is the one who banned me from the group.
That doesn't surprise me. He unfriended me, so I'm probably next.
You're gonna get the axe.
You're gonna get the axe.
I think you posted this stream link in that group.
I sure did.
Did you check and see if you got the axe from them?
Let's go see.
Because God forbid anyone talk anything bad about them.
Reality official. I'm still in. As of this moment, I'm still in there.
Yeah, I mean the thing is too, like, I have no problem with people posting bad stuff about our thing, but my response is always contact our support. We'll get you straightened out. It's
Yep.
that simple. There's no and the whole thing of the lack of support with these Chinese companies is it hurts companies like us because people expect no support, and then they approach it already pissed off, thinking that they're gonna have to fight to get help, and that's not the
Yep.
case. You know.
Yep.
So, unless anybody else has, um, unless anybody else has, sorry, my spring steel sheet guy is messaging me. He said he's cutting the sheets right now, and he never sent me his PayPal so we can pay him.
You
Um,
showed yours already, haven't you?
yeah, it's all the way over there, but yeah, we're gonna be shipping them with PEI sheets on them because they release better than the mats. You can use the easy mats on them if you want, but because the mats hold on so well, it's pretty much just flex it and then you pull them off, whereas the PEI kind of falls off. So.
Yeah.
But unless anybody has anything else to add, we're gonna wrap this stream up here, and because it's already 11 o'clock here, I got some stuff to do. I'm probably gonna be up
Yep.
for another, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours at least. So, Robbie Max wants to know where my beard went. I screwed it up when I was shaving, so it's time to start over. I cut it. I cut it too far right here, and so I couldn't fix it. It would look weird. I was like, okay, we're starting over. So now I look like I'm a 12-year-old kid. Love you too, Brandon. No homo. I'm taken. I have a ring. So, all right,
Thanks,
everybody.
Jerry.
We'll
Thanks,
just
everyone.
recap. So, like I said, go back through the chat. We plugged a lot of good people here. Jerry's awesome. Matt1UK is awesome. Tom with Film and Frenzy. Cody with the C3D support groups. If you want to support us, buy stuff from our shop. I appreciate the donations. They will go towards beer because that's how I drown my sorrows. Anyways, everybody, I'm out of beer right now, and I have other things to do. So I will wrap this up. Cody, I will catch you after I cut off the stream here. So
Alrighty, man.
stay on. And I hope everybody had some fun. I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in. So subscribe to the channel, like the video, please. If you want to get notified of when we have live streams scheduled, as soon as I cut this live stream off, I'm going to go ahead and put the time in for the anniversary stream, so you guys get notified for that. And everybody, happy printing, and I don't know, be awesome.